Dr. Marcus Reed hadn't expected anything extraordinary when he moved to the Montana wilderness. After 15 years of quantum research at CERN, all he wanted was solitude to continue his theoretical work without interruption. His cabin, nestled against the backdrop of snow-capped mountains, had been perfect for that purpose, until the night everything changed. The first sign something was wrong came when his equipment readings went haywire. The quantum fluctuation detector he'd built as a hobby started screaming with impossible readings. Marcus rushed to his makeshift lab, adjusting his thick-rimmed glasses as he studied the output. The numbers made no sense. They suggested a localized breakdown in spacetime just above his property. That's when he heard it. A sound like reality itself was being torn apart, followed by a streak of emerald light that illuminated the entire valley. The light terminated in an explosion that shook the ground beneath his feet. Without thinking, Marcus grabbed his emergency kit and rushed toward the impact site. The crash had carved a smoking trench through his northern field, ending in a crater about 30 feet wide. At its center sat what could only be described as a ship, though it looked nothing like any human spacecraft. Its hull seemed to shift colors like oil on water, and parts of it appeared to fade in and out of existence. "Hello," Marcus called out, approaching cautiously. "Is anyone there?" A section of the hull suddenly became transparent, revealing a small figure inside. Marcus watched in amazement as a young alien emerged. She appeared almost human, except for her iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with patterns of light and eyes that looked like swirling galaxies. She stumbled, clearly injured, and Marcus rushed forward to catch her before she fell. "Easy there," he said softly, noting how light she felt, as if her mass wasn't quite consistent with her size. "Please," she whispered in perfect English, "they mustn't find me." Then she passed out in his arms. Marcus stood there, holding an unconscious alien while his scientific mind raced with questions. But years of research had taught him one thing. Sometimes the most important discoveries came from helping first and asking questions later. He carried her back to his cabin, laying her gently on his couch. In the better light, he could see she was wearing what appeared to be some kind of advanced environmental suit, though it was damaged in several places. Her features were delicate, almost elfin, and she couldn't have been more than the equivalent of a human teenager. As he treated her visible injuries with his first aid kit, Marcus noticed something odd about her suit. There were markings on it that seemed to shift and change, but one symbol remained constant. A complex geometric pattern that tickled something in his memory. He'd seen something similar in a theoretical physics paper about corporate logos in higher dimensions. The alien girl stirred, her galaxy eyes fluttering open. "Where?" she began. "You're safe," Marcus assured her. "I'm Dr. Marcus Reed. You're in my cabin in Montana, Earth. Can you tell me your name?" She hesitated, then spoke in a voice that seemed to carry harmonics beyond human hearing. "I am called Lyra, but that name, it carries danger now." Marcus nodded, deciding not to push. "You're injured, but nothing seems life-threatening, though I admit my knowledge of alien physiology is somewhat limited," he added with a slight smile. Lyra attempted to sit up, then winced. "Your assessment is correct. My injuries are superficial, but my ship's quantum core is critically damaged. Without it, I cannot leave, and they will find me." "Who's looking for you?" Marcus asked, though he had a feeling he knew the answer. Those symbols on her suit, the advanced technology, this wasn't just any alien refugee. Lyra's expression darkened. "The Quantum Enforcement Division, my father. He controls most of the quantum technology in 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. I was supposed to be part of a merger, an arranged marriage to unite 2 corporate empires, but I discovered something terrible, something that could destroy entire civilizations." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. As a quantum physicist, he understood the devastating potential of misused quantum technology. "And that's why you ran." She nodded. "I couldn't let them use it, but now," she looked around helplessly. "I've crashed on a pre-FTL world with primitive quantum technology. No offense," she added quickly. Marcus chuckled despite the situation. "None taken, though you might be surprised by what we primitives can accomplish." He walked to his window, looking out at the crashed ship gleaming in the moonlight. "I've spent my career studying quantum mechanics. Maybe together we can find a way to repair your ship." "You would help me?" Lyra asked, surprise evident in her voice, "even knowing the danger." Marcus turned back to her, his expression serious. Science is about helping us understand the universe and each other. If what you're running from is as dangerous as you say, then helping you isn't just the right thing to do. It might be crucial for Earth's survival. Before Lyra could respond, a high-pitched whine filled the air. Through his window, Marcus saw three black shapes descending from the clouds, their surfaces seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. "They're already here," Lyra whispered, fear evident in her voice. "The hunters." Marcus quickly dimmed his lights. "Then we better move fast. Good thing I built this place with a basement lab." He pressed a hidden panel, revealing a staircase. "After you." As they descended into darkness, Marcus couldn't help but smile. He'd wanted solitude to study the mysteries of the universe. Instead, the universe had come to him, along with what promised to be the greatest scientific adventure of his life. The night was just beginning, and somewhere above them the hunters were landing. Marcus's basement laboratory hummed with the soft whir of cooling fans and quantum measurement devices. He quickly activated his electromagnetic shielding, originally installed to prevent interference with his experiments, now serving as their only protection against the hunters above. "They won't be able to detect us through this shielding," he assured Lyra, who was examining his equipment with obvious curiosity. "Though I admit, it wasn't designed with alien tracking technology in mind." Lyra touched one of his quantum computers, her fingertips leaving trails of light on the surface. "This is remarkable. Primitive, yes, but the underlying principles. You've independently discovered quantum entanglement networking." "That's what I've been researching," Marcus admitted, pulling up his latest data on a holographic display. "Though I suspect your people mastered it centuries ago." Before Lyra could respond, a deep thrumming sound penetrated the basement walls. The hunters were using some kind of scanning technology. Lyra's skin pulsed with patterns of worried light. "Dr. Reed," she said quietly, "there's something you need to know about who I really am." She reached into her suit and withdrew what looked like a crystalline card. As she held it up, it projected a hologram showing a vast space station shaped like an infinite loop. "This is the headquarters of Quantum Dynamics Universal, the largest technology corporation in the known galaxy." And this, the image changed to show an imposing alien figure with the same iridescent skin as Lyra, but with patterns that seemed to burn like solar flares. "Is my father, Executor Venn." Marcus studied the image with growing concern. "I'm guessing executor isn't just a fancy corporate title. In our society, the line between corporation and government has blurred. The largest companies don't just control resources or technology, they control entire regions of space. My father's corporation holds the patents for quantum fold technology, without which interstellar travel would be impossible." The thrumming above grew stronger. Dust fell from the ceiling as the hunters swept the property. Marcus quickly checked his shields, making adjustments to compensate for the increased scanning power. "What did you discover that was worth running from all that power?" he asked, though part of him dreaded the answer. Lyra's galaxy eyes darkened. "My father's latest project. They're calling it the Quantum Consciousness Interface. It's meant to be the ultimate merger of organic and quantum computing." She shuddered. "But it's really a way to control minds on a galactic scale. Once implemented, no one would be able to even think thoughts that went against corporate interests." Marcus felt sick. As a scientist, he'd always believed that knowledge and technology should serve to elevate consciousness, not suppress it. "And the marriage you mentioned." "To the heir of our biggest competitor in quantum computing. Once our companies merged, there would be no one left to oppose the technology's implementation." Lyra's skin patterns shifted to dark, angry swirls. "I couldn't let that happen, so I stole the prototype and the key research data." A crash from above made them both jump. The hunters were inside the cabin now. Marcus could hear heavy footsteps moving across his floor. "They're using quantum phase trackers," Lyra whispered. "Standard shielding won't hold them for long." Marcus smiled grimly. "Good thing my shielding isn't standard." He moved to his main computer, fingers flying across the holographic keys. "I've been experimenting with quantum uncertainty fields. Rather than just blocking scans, it makes everything within the field exist in a state of quantum superposition. Even if they detect something, they won't be able to pin down exactly what or where it is." Lyra watched in amazement as he worked. "That's brilliant. Primitive equipment or not, you've grasped concepts that took my people generations to develop." "Sometimes a fresh perspective helps," Marcus said, activating the field. The air around them seemed to shimmer slightly. Though I have to admit, I never expected to test this against actual alien technology. Above them, the footsteps stopped. The hunters had reached the center of the cabin. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then the heavy footsteps began moving away. "It's working," Lyra breathed. "But they won't give up. They'll establish a perimeter, wait for reinforcements." Marcus nodded, already thinking ahead. "Then we need to move fast. Tell me about your ship's quantum core. If we can repair it, we might be able to." He was cut off by a new sound, a high-pitched whine that made his teeth ache. The hunters had deployed some kind of quantum resonance device. "They're trying to collapse the uncertainty field," Lyra explained, her voice tight with worry. "Once they do, they'll be able to." The lights in the lab flickered. Marcus's equipment began sparking, quantum calculations spiraling into chaos. The uncertainty field was failing. "Time for Plan B," Marcus said, rushing to a far corner of the lab. He pressed his hand against what appeared to be a bare wall, and a hidden door slid open. "I built this place with an escape tunnel. Call it paranoid, but after certain experiments, I decided having a backup exit might be wise." Lyra stared at him with new respect. "You continue to surprise me, Dr. Reed." "Marcus," he corrected, grabbing a bag of emergency supplies. "If we're going to be fugitives together, you might as well use my first name." As if to emphasize his point, a massive boom shook the ceiling. The hunters were done being subtle. "The tunnel leads to a garage about half a mile away," Marcus explained as they entered the passage. "I keep a vehicle there. It's not as sophisticated as your ship, but it should get us to someone who might be able to help." "Who?" Lyra asked as the door sealed behind them. Marcus activated the tunnel's lighting system, revealing a long corridor carved through the Montana bedrock. "An old colleague from CERN. She's been working on some interesting quantum theories of her own. And more importantly," he paused, checking a tablet that showed the cabin's security feeds. The hunters had breached the lab, their armored forms like something out of a nightmare. "She has access to equipment that might help us repair your ship's core." They began moving through the tunnel, the sounds of destruction fatting behind them. But as they walked, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. He'd spent his life studying the quantum nature of reality, its uncertainties, its possibilities, its endless potential for change. Now he was living it, running through the dark with an alien princess, while quantum-enhanced hunters tried to prevent her from saving free will itself. He'd wanted to make breakthrough discoveries in quantum physics. Instead, he might help prevent those discoveries from being used to enslave the galaxy. As far as unexpected career changes went, he decided, this one wasn't too bad. The emergency garage turned out to be more than Marcus had let on. Hidden beneath a seemingly abandoned barn was a fully equipped workshop, its walls lined with prototype quantum technology. "You've been busy for a recluse," Lyra observed, her galaxy eyes taking in the array of equipment. Her skin patterns shifted to reflect curiosity and admiration. Marcus was already prepping his vehicle, a heavily modified electric truck that hummed with barely contained energy. "Let's just say the quantum uncertainty field wasn't my only side project." He opened the hood, revealing an engine unlike anything on Earth. "I call it the quantum drive. It uses principles of quantum tunneling to, well, let's just say it goes fast." A distant explosion interrupted his explanation. The hunters had found the tunnel. "How fast?" Lyra asked urgently. Marcus slammed the hood shut. "Fast enough to outrun them, I hope. Get in." They climbed into the truck, which was more computer than vehicle inside. Holographic displays sprang to life as Marcus activated the quantum systems. The entire vehicle thrummed with potential energy. "We need to get to my colleague's facility in Nevada," Marcus explained as he pressed his palm to the main console. "Dr. Alina Wright. She's been working on quantum materialization, technology that might help repair your ship's core." The garage door opened silently, revealing the pre-dawn Montana landscape. As they emerged, Lyra spotted 3 black shapes rising from the direction of Marcus's cabin. "They're airborne," she warned. Marcus nodded grimly. "Hold on," he pressed the accelerator. The world blurred. The truck didn't just accelerate, it seemed to skip through space itself, appearing hundreds of feet ahead of where it had been moment before. Behind them, quantum-enhanced plasma bolts from the hunter's ships carved glowing trails through the air. "The quantum drive creates localized tunneling effects," Marcus explained as they phased through a stand of trees rather than going around it. We're technically moving through multiple probability spaces at once. Impressive, Lyra admitted, watching the hunters struggle to track their quantum-shifted position. Though it's straining the local quantum field, we're leaving a trail they can follow. As if to prove her point, one of the hunter ships appeared directly ahead of them, having predicted their quantum trajectory. Marcus yanked the wheel, and the truck shifted sideways through reality, emerging on a different road entirely. They're using quantum prediction algorithms, Lyra explained, her skin patterns pulsing with worry. Standard pursuit tactics for quantum-capable vessels. Good thing this isn't a standard vehicle. Marcus flipped a switch labeled experimental. I've been working on quantum field manipulation if we can't hide our trail. The truck's engine note changed, becoming deeper, more resonant. We'll give them too many trails to follow. Suddenly they were everywhere at once. Quantum copies of the truck appeared on every road in a 50-mile radius, each one seemingly as real as their own. The hunters split up, unable to determine which version was genuine. Quantum superposition on a macroscopic scale, Lyra breathed. Your civilization shouldn't be capable of this yet. Marcus grinned. Like I said, sometimes a fresh perspective helps, though we can't maintain it for long. The energy requirements are. The truck shuddered as reality reasserted itself. The quantum copies vanished, and warning lights flashed across the dashboard. How far to Nevada? Lyra asked. Too far to maintain quantum drive the whole way. Marcus checked his instruments. We need to make a stop. Recharge the quantum capacitors, let the field stabilizers cool down. They'll be watching population centers, Lyra warned. Who said anything about population? Marcus turned off the main road onto a dusty track that seemed to lead nowhere. I have a network of quantum research stations hidden across the country, small facilities off the grid equipped with backup power systems and basic quantum tech. The truck crested a hill, revealing a small, inconspicuous building that looked like an abandoned gas station. But as they approached, Lyra's enhanced senses detected sophisticated technology hidden beneath the worn exterior. Your world is full of surprises, Marcus, she said softly. They pulled into the station just as the quantum drive's warning lights turned red. Marcus quickly connected the truck to a hidden power coupling while Lyra kept watch. 20 minutes to minimum safe charge, he announced, checking the readouts. How's our pursuit looking? Lyra closed her eyes, her skin patterns shifting as she accessed her suit's remaining sensors. They're regrouping, establishing a search pattern. The quantum copies confused their tracking systems, but they're adapting, learning. Marcus nodded, already moving to a concealed panel in the station's wall. Then we better be ready for them. The panel slid aside, revealing rack after rack of quantum technology. This is one of my main research caches, everything I couldn't keep at the cabin. These designs, Lyra said, examining the equipment. They're different from standard quantum tech, more elegant in a way, less constrained by conventional thinking. Earth's isolation might have been an advantage, Marcus suggested, gathering components. We had to develop our own theories, find our own paths to quantum manipulation. Speaking of which, he pulled out what looked like a silver sphere. This might help us level the playing field. What is it? A quantum field destabilizer. It creates a cascade effect in any quantum technology within range. Should disable their ships, at least temporarily. He paused. Though I've never tested it on advanced alien tech. Lyra's skin patterns shifted to a determined configuration. First time for everything. A distant humming made them both freeze. The hunters were getting closer. How much longer on the charge? Lyra whispered. Marcus checked the readouts. 10 minutes minimum, we're cutting it. The air split with a crack of quantum energy. A hunter ship materialized directly above the station, its black surface drinking in the morning light. Time to test your destabilizer, Lyra said. Marcus activated the sphere, which began to pulse with an otherworldly light. The hunter ship's quantum field flickered, but held. They're shielded, Lyra realized. Military-grade quantum stabilizers. Then we improvise. Marcus grabbed the sphere and ran to the truck, pulling open its hood. Help me integrate this into the quantum drive if we can't shut down their fields. We overload them, Lyra finished, catching on. Her fingers danced over the truck systems, making adjustments within human speed. It'll burn out our drive. Better than being caught. Marcus connected the final wire. The truck's quantum system surged, energy crackling across its surface. Above them, the hunter ship opened fire. But before its quantum-enhanced weapons could strike, Marcus slammed the activation switch. Reality buckled. The quantum destabilizer, integrated with the truck's drive, created a wave of pure probability collapse. The hunter ship systems overloaded spectacularly, sending it spinning away, trailing quantum fire. Now that, Lyra said with a grin that showed her slightly luminescent teeth, was elegant. They jumped back in the truck, which was now sparking ominously. The quantum drive was damaged but still functional, barely. We've got one, maybe two more quantum jumps before the drive fails completely, Marcus warned as they peeled out of the station. After that, we're on conventional power. Make them count, Lyra advised, watching more hunter ships appear on the horizon. Nevada's still a long way off. Marcus nodded, hands tight on the wheel. The sun was rising behind them, painting the sky in colors that seemed to match the patterns flowing across Lyra's skin. They had a damaged truck, a half-formed plan, and a growing number of extremely well-equipped enemies on their tail. But they also had human ingenuity, alien knowledge, and the determination to prevent a technology meant to expand consciousness from being used to enslave it. As far as odds went, Marcus had calculated worse. He pressed the quantum drive activator one more time, and reality blurred around them. The chase was far from over, but at least now they were giving as good as they got. Sometimes, he reflected as they quantum-tunneled through a small mountain, that was all you could ask for. The Nevada desert stretched endlessly before them as Marcus's truck limped along on conventional power. The quantum drive had finally given out somewhere in Utah, leaving them vulnerable. Lyra's skin patterns had dimmed to anxious, muted swirls as she monitored the skis with her suit's remaining sensors. Your colleague, Lyra said, breaking the tense silence. Can she be trusted? Marcus adjusted their course, avoiding main roads. Eleanor Wright isn't just brilliant, she's principled. When CERN wanted to weaponize our quantum research, she was the first to resign in protest. He smiled slightly. She's also the only person who believed my theories about quantum consciousness. A glint of metal in the distance caught their attention. 3 black dots were approaching fast, but not from above. Ground vehicles, Lyra confirmed, her galaxy eyes narrowing. Military grade, they're not even trying to hide anymore. They don't need to, Marcus said grimly. We're running on empty and they know it. He checked their position on a secure tablet. We're still 30 minutes from Eleanor's facility. The pursuing vehicles were gaining rapidly. As they drew closer, Lyra could see they were some kind of advanced hover tanks, their surfaces rippling with quantum distortion fields. Those aren't standard hunter equipment, she said, skin patterns shifting to alarm red. Those are Quantum Enforcement Division elite units. My father must have called in military support. A warning shot of concentrated quantum energy sizzled past their truck, leaving a glass-smooth crater in the desert floor. Any more tricks up your sleeve? Lyra asked hopefully. Marcus reached under his seat and pulled out what looked like a modified tablet computer. One, but it's untested, dangerous. He handed it to Lyra. I need you to interface with it. Your quantum-enhanced biology might be able to handle the load. Lyra examined the device. Her eyes widened. You've created a rudimentary quantum consciousness interface, similar to what my father's building, but different, Marcus finished. No control, no suppression, just connection, enhancement. I theorize that consciousness itself operates on quantum principles. This device doesn't override them, it amplifies them. Another quantum blast rocked their truck. The hover tanks were almost within optimal firing range. What will it do? Lyra asked, fingers hovering over the interface. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure, but right now we're out of options. Lyra took a deep breath, her skin patterns resolving into determined geometric shapes. She pressed her palm to the device's screen. Light exploded from the point of contact. Lyra gasped as her consciousness expanded exponentially. Suddenly she could feel everything, every quantum particle, every probability wave, every possible configuration of reality within a mile radius. Marcus, she whispered, her voice carrying strange harmonics. I can see them, all of them, every quantum state, every potential. Her galaxy eyes were now literal windows into space, showing actual stars and nebulae. I can change things. The pursuing hover tanks suddenly lifted off the ground, caught in a massive quantum probability distortion. Reality rippled around them as Lyra rewrote their possible positions in space-time. When she released the distortion, the vehicles reappeared 2 miles back, facing the wrong direction. Remarkable, Marcus breathed, both awed and slightly terrified by the display of power. You're actually manipulating quantum probability at a macro scale. It's beautiful, Lyra said. Consciousness and quantum mechanics intertwined at the deepest level. This is what my father doesn't understand. He wants to control it, contain it. But it should be free, allowed to expand, to... She cut off with a cry of pain. The device in her hands was starting to smoke. Your consciousness is overloading the interface, Marcus warned. You need to disconnect. Wait, Lyra gasped. One more thing. She reached out with her enhanced perception, touching the quantum signature of their own vehicle. The truck shuddered, then suddenly accelerated as its normal physical laws were temporarily rewritten. Lyra collapsed back in her seat as Marcus regained control of their now quantum-enhanced truck. The interface device was a melted ruin, but they were moving faster than should have been physically possible. What did you do? Marcus asked, watching the hover tanks shrink to dots in their rearview mirror. Quantum probability manipulation, Lyra explained weakly, her skin patterns slowly returning to normal. I convinced local spacetime that our truck's maximum velocity was significantly higher than standard physics would suggest. Marcus checked their speed. How long will it last? An hour, maybe less. The quantum probability matrix will eventually reassert standard physical laws. She managed a tired smile. But it should get us to your colleague. The facility appeared on the horizon 20 minutes later, a sprawling complex disguised as an abandoned mining operation. But as they approached, Marcus's expression turned to concern. Something's wrong, he said. The security protocols are offline. They pulled up to the main entrance. The gates were open, and there were fresh tire tracks in the dust. We're not the first ones here, Lyra observed, her galaxy eyes scanning the compound. Multiple quantum signatures, recent. Marcus parked the truck, its quantum-enhanced engine finally sputtering out. They knew we were coming, probably tracked my research network. What now? Before Marcus could answer, the facility's doors opened. Dr. Alina Wright emerged, but she wasn't alone. 2 figures in quantum-enhanced battle armor flanked her, their weapons trained on her back. I'm sorry, Marcus, Alina called out, her voice strained. They got here hours ago, they know everything. A new figure stepped out of the shadows, an alien with skin that burned like solar flares, wearing what appeared to be a suit made of pure quantum energy. Hello, daughter, said Executor Venn. I believe it's time we discussed your future and the future of consciousness itself. Marcus and Lyra exchanged glances. They were exhausted, their weapons and advantages spent. But they had also just witnessed something revolutionary, proof that consciousness and quantum mechanics could work in harmony, enhancing rather than controlling. Ready to show them the difference between control and connection? Marcus asked quietly. Lyra's skin patterns shifted to match the desert sunrise, beautiful, fierce, and full of possibility. Always. They stepped out of the truck together, ready to face whatever came next. The future of free will itself might depend on what happened in the next few minutes. But at least now they knew, with absolute certainty, that consciousness was far more powerful and beautiful than any system designed to control it. The real question was, could they prove it before it was too late? The Nevada sun cast long shadows across the facility's courtyard as Marcus and Lyra faced Executor Venn. The alien corporate leader's skin blazed with patterns of barely contained power, quantum energy crackling around him like a storm. Your rebellion ends here, daughter, Venn announced, his voice resonating with multiple harmonics. The quantum consciousness interface will proceed as planned. Order will be maintained. Order through enslavement isn't order at all, Lyra responded, her own skin patterns pulsing defiantly. I've seen another way. Dr. Reed's research proves that quantum consciousness can enhance free will, not suppress it. Venn's patterns shifted to something like amusement. Ah yes, the primitive quantum physicist. He turned his burning gaze to Marcus. Your work is intriguing, flawed but intriguing. Perhaps we could discuss a position within quantum dynamics universal. Thanks, but I prefer my consciousness uncontrolled, Marcus replied, subtly positioning himself near a maintenance panel. He'd helped Billionaire design this facility. He knew its secrets. Control is inevitable, Ven declared. The galaxy grows more chaotic by the day. Free will is inefficient, messy. The interface will bring harmony. You mean uniformity, Billionaire spoke up, despite the weapons at her back. I've seen your plans. The interface doesn't enhance consciousness. It standardizes it, eliminates diversity of thought. Ven's patterns flared dangerously. Enough! Lyra, you will return with me. The merger will proceed. And Earth, he gestured dismissively. Earth will serve as our first full-scale test of the interface. No, Lyra said simply. No, Ven's skin blazed brighter. You don't have a choice. Your ship is destroyed. Your protector's quantum drive is burned out. You have nothing. She has me, Marcus said, pressing his hand against the maintenance panel. Hidden quantum generators hummed to life throughout the facility. And more importantly, she has proof that you're wrong. Billionaire's eyes widened as she recognized the startup sequence. Marcus, you can't. The quantum consciousness amplifier isn't stable. It's not meant to be stable, Marcus replied. It's meant to be free. Before Ven could react, quantum energy erupted from hidden emitters throughout the compound. But unlike the controlling, suppressing force of the interface, this energy connected, enhanced, liberated. The effect was immediate. Every conscious being in the area, human, alien, even the quantum-enhanced hunters, found their awareness expanding. Not controlled, but elevated. They could feel the quantum nature of reality, the infinite possibilities in every moment, the profound connection between consciousness and the fundamental fabric of existence. Ven staggered, his carefully maintained quantum patterns fluctuating wildly. What is this? This is what consciousness really is, Lyra explained, her galaxy eyes shining with vindication. Not a force to be controlled, but a quantum phenomenon to be explored. Every mind is a universe of possibilities. The hunters lowered their weapons, their enhanced awareness making them question their programmed loyalties. Billionaire broke free, rushing to Marcus's side. The amplifier won't hold for long, she warned. The quantum field is already starting to destabilize. Long enough, Marcus said, watching Ven struggle with his new perception. Long enough to show them the truth. Ven fell to his knees, his quantum suit flickering. The complexity, the beautiful chaos of it all, I never understood. That was the problem, Lyra told her father gently. You tried to impose order on something that thrives on possibility. Consciousness isn't meant to be contained. It's meant to expand, to explore, to connect. The quantum field began to collapse, but its effect had done its work. The hunters were standing down, their enhanced consciousness having shown them the fundamental wrong of their mission. Ven remained on his knees, his burning patterns now shifting into something more contemplative. All this time, he whispered, I thought I was advancing consciousness, but I was trying to imprison it. It's not too late to change course, Lyra suggested. Imagine what quantum dynamics universal could do if it focused on enhancing consciousness rather than controlling it. The interface could be redesigned, improved. Using my research as a foundation, Marcus added. A collaboration between Earth and your civilization, not a takeover. Ven looked up, his patterns slowly stabilizing into something new, something that showed both power and understanding. The board will resist. The merger partners will object. Let them, Lyra said firmly. Show them what we saw today. Let them experience true quantum consciousness enhancement. They'll understand. The quantum amplifier finally failed completely, its energy dispersing into the desert air. But its effect remained in the minds of all who had experienced it.